The riddle of John Denver is finally explained, and it's not good. John Denver was born Henry John Deutschendorf Jr.B., was born on December in Roswell, New Mexico on the 31st of December, 1943. His father was in the military. Thus, he grew up in a military home, was a pilot in the U.S. Air Force. Denver had a nomadic childhood, moving around a lot of the time across the country. The C's early years taught him both a feeling of being lost and a deep respect for the size and the natural beauty of the United States landscape. Themes that would come later define his songwriting. John Denver loved music from a young age in life, and he got his first guitar from his grandma when he was 11 years old. That little gift turned out to be changed my life, inspired by people like Elvis Presley and folk singers from the 1960s. Denver made his own musical voice whilst going to Texas Tech University. He eventually came to Los Angeles to pursue a career in music, which changed his name to Denver in recognition of Colorado's capital, a state he loved and often sung about. Denver's big break happened in 1969 when he penned Leaving on a Jet Plane, which was a big hit for Mary, Peter, and Paul. The song's popularity made him a promising songwriter, and he quickly became a forefront as a performer in his own way. In the 1970s, John Denver became famous over the world with a string of popular songs like Take Me Home and Ease Song, Rocky, and Country Road Sunshine on My Shoulders, Mountain High, and I'm Glad I'm a Country Boy. The Seth music touched the heart and soul of America's natural beauty and people feelings, mixing folk, country, and pop influences into a sound that is instant. Denver's sound is easy to recognize, a pleasant tenor voice and an acoustic guitar. John Denver was not just a well-known vocalist and songwriter, but also a performer with several sides who appeared in lots of movies and TV specials in the 1970s and 1980 seconds. One often of the most famous parts he played was in the popular movie Oh God in 1977 with the famous comic George Burns. The movie did well at the box office. It showed off Denver's innate charm and warmth that went beyond his musical skills. His calm, honest presence on screen complemented Burns' comedy, helping to make Oh God a classic that people adore. That mixed funny and serious things topics. Denver's other roles besides this movie in TV specials and other movies and shows showed how popular he was and how good he was to reach people through different types of media during the peak years of his job. A lot of people remember John Denver was mostly a musician, and he kept making new music long after 1990 seconds, always changing how he sounded while still being faithful to the folk and the country origins that made him famous through this time. His job more and more showed how he was growing love for environmental issues. Denver was a strong supporter of figuring natural areas and animals in the wild. He often uses his songs and a public platform to get the word out about fought for ecological attempts to protect the environment and living. Deep down, they believe they need to keep the earth safe for future generations, In addition to his environmental activism, Denver was a passionate backer of space exploration, captivated by humanity's potential to explore the cosmos. This interest waned by mere fascination. He gave his voice and power to campaigns increasing finance and public support for NASA and other space programs, viewing exploration as an important step for progressive people. John Denver also made a notable mark by taking a stand against music censorship. In an era when so many musicians faced pressures to alter thyroid or face bans on airplay, Denver testified before the United States Congress to oppose censorship and advocate for artistic freedom. His testimony highlighted his commitment to artistic expression and his opinion that music should act as a vehicle for truth, inspiration, and connection with it being stifled by limiting regulations. Denver's involvement in these political while social issues exhibited a deeper dimension to his public presence, one of principled activism and civic engagement beyond his profession in entertainment. A defining element of John Denver's identity was his strong passion for Colorado, a state whose natural beauty significantly inspired his music and way of life. He opted to live in Aspen, Colorado throughout most of his adult life, getting ideas from the Grand Rocky Mountains and the lively outdoors people who live there. Aspen was more than only a place to live. It was a source of new life and creative energy for Denver, who often wrote songs that praised the area's landscapes and spirit. In recognition of his cultural contribution and his personification of Colorado's spirit, Denver was designated the official poet laureate of the state. In 1974, this award recognized his part in improving Colorado's reputation and sharing its beauty. Through his poetic-telling stories, Denver was linked to Colorado by become famous by his music, especially with the song Rocky Mountain High, which caught the awakened respect he had for the mountains and wild places. This song was so deeply linked to the state and its identity that Colorado in 2007 the state legislature officially passed Rocky Mountain High as one of its 2 state tunes. The choice didn't celebrate just Denver's art, but also the song's ability to bring back the spirit of natural world in Colorado. His song Take Me Home is also like this. Country Roads became a song that people in West Virginia, which shows a deep longing and feeling at home, that an effect that went far beyond Denver's own roots. The song was honored by West Virginia in 2014, making it one of its official state anthems, which made John even more famous. Denver's lasting impact on American music and art. Not only was Denver a musician, but also a strong supporter of protecting the environment and causes that help others. He utilized his celebrity as a way to get people to think about peace, world hunger, and conservation. He started in the 1970s and 1980s. The Windstar Foundation is an organization dedicated to teaching people about the environment and long-lasting. He was also the voice of UNICEF and worked hard for humanitarian operations around the world. His songs often showed his values and celebrated land, encouraging love and togetherness and telling people to take care of the world around them. Denver's calming presence went beyond the recording stage for concerts and studios. He was a well-known TV personality who hosted shows like The John Denver Special, where his warm, pleasant personality and real relationship with audiences shone very brightly. He also tried his hand at acting and was in a number of movies and television specials that show even more his many skills and charm. Johnny was Denver's first wife, Martell, in 1967. Annie, who is from St. Peter, Minnesota, was more than just Denver's life partner and muse, as well as inspiration for some of his best work music that will last. Their connection blossomed when Denver was still a new artist, and Annie's being there gave him emotional stability through it too. The first few problems of a career that is growing. One of the most directly inspired great tunes was Annie's song, a touching ballad he written in a very brief length of time, merely 10 minutes. Willie in a ski lift in Colorado. This short burst of creativity showed how much he loved her, expressing gratitude for Annie, saying a calm and deep connection to her and the beautiful nature around them. The couple made from 1968 to 1971 their home in Edina, Minnesota, a suburban setting that was different from later on. Denver liked the mountains, yet gave a stable base as he became famous. As Denver's career took off, especially after the release of the famous Rocky Mountain High, his affinity for the outdoors and these mountains grew bigger. This specific song was based on a memorable camping trip excursion he took with Annie and other close friends people, an encounter that brought back his love for nature and became a big part of a lot of his music and identity in public. Inspired by this connection, Denver bought a house in Aspen, Colorado, which is a place that represented the rough natural landscape he loved and would call home for the rest of his life. Aspen became a Denver's sanctuary, a place where he could get away from the stress of being famous and lose himself in the beauty of these Rocky Mountains. The Denvers got bigger, their family through adoption, which brought kids, a son and a daughter, into their lives, a son named Zachary John and a daughter named Kate Anna. Denver regularly talked about how these adoptions seemed like fate, saying that Anna, Kate, and Zachary were meant to be theirs, implying a profound spiritual link and feeling of purpose in their family life. Denver's role as a father was profoundly important to him. In his own he would say, "I'll tell you the words, finest thing about me. I'm some guy's dad. I'm some little gal's dad. When I die, father of Zachary, John, and Anna Kate, that's enough for me to be remembered by. That's more than enough." This phrase reflected the foundation of his values, that beyond the song and the fame, being a devoted father was the legacy he treasured most. Zachary Evan Denver's song A Baby Just Like was inspired by, which encompasses the warm, tender little Zachary. Merry Christmas, a song that Denver wrote for Frank Sinatra, yet very close to his own life. Even though they loved each other, John Denver and his wife built a family together, and Annie Martell's marriage finally came to an end in 1982, the demands and stresses of Denver's skyrocketing career played a big role in a part in their breakup. In a Frank the interview from 1983 was in theme of John Denver, Country Boy in 2013. Denver thought about how the constant demands of his job had put a strain on their relationship with them, which made it hard to keep the closeness and intimacy that had once been the basis of their relationship. Later, Annie Martell told her point of view, pointing out that they were just too young and not grown up enough to manage the unexpected fame and changes in life as the that John's accomplishment brought. Their divorce was not just emotional, characterized in a memorable way bit time. To show how Denver decreased its combined assets in half, cut their marriage bed in half with a chainsaw. This shocking deed brought out the raw and the bitter truth of their breakup as well as Denver's complicated, sentimental personality that is impulsive. After a few, Denver found love again after a few years and married Cassandra Delaney, an Australian actress, in 1988 after 2 years of dating. Their relationship seemed good as they settled into the home that Denver loves in Aspen, Colorado. The couple was happy to welcome a daughter named Jessie Bell, which adds a new chapter in Denver's life as a dad. But the marriage was short-lived, and the pair broke up in 1991 and finishing their divorce in 1993. Denver's thoughts on his second marriage was really open and honest, a little bitter. He once said that before our marriage ended so quickly she was able to make a mockery of him after their divorce. Me from one end of the valley to the other. This statement suggested the personal problems and emotional trouble he had during their relationship, showing a more difficult and hard part of his private existence that was different from the friendly, natural public persona had developed through his music. For decades, the untimely and tragic death of a confluence of things kept John Denver in the dark of guesswork, perplexity, and questions that have not been answered. Both fans and onlookers were curious about what really happened on that fateful day. Singer who was loved by many died in October 1997, singer-songwriter known for his soft voice, deeply connected lyrics and nature, and he died in a plane crash. Now, after years of looking into it, insider information, and diligent an overview of the events that led up to the riddle has finally been solved after the accident. Solved. But the truth is, as it turns out, is much more disturbing than Anna thought. John Denver was an accomplished pilot, but on October 12, 1997, while piloting his own experimental aircraft, the Rutan Longuez, something went horribly wrong. Initially, the official findings pointed to a mistake by the pilot or a problem with the machine, but over time, more complicated details came out. The investigators found out that Denver has been having trouble with some important problems with cockpit control. In particular, the fuel selector valve was at the wrong place, which caused lack of fuel. This made the engine stop working. In the middle of the flight, which led to the crash into the Pacific Ocean near California's and the coast. But more investigations weighed deeper difficulties. The plane had design problems that were not fully revealed or comprehended, and these safety features weren't good enough. John Denver is said to have grumbled about issues with the gasoline system before the flight, but hadn't gotten the right help or repairs. This carelessness and the absence of enough assistance from the maker of the plane helped to a large extent to the deadly crash, besides the technical reasons. There is additional ambiguity over John Denver's personal life in the years before his death. People knew him for his happy melodies and concern for the environment activist, but behind the scenes he had to deal with big problems. He fought stress and mental distress, celebrity, and a complex personal life relationships, including one that was hard divorce that left scars that won't go away. Some reports say that he was coping with depression and was under severe stress. Variables that could have affected his judgment that day, even though there are rumors concerning drug misuse has been going around. But there has never been clear proof that medications or drink driving in the crash. It looks like tragedy is a perfect storm of technical problems and human weakness. An unkind intersection that took the story of a guy who moved millions. One of the most upsetting things about this discovery makes things more difficult. Legacy of John Denver. For a long time, fans have kept an image of him as good, natural, loving troublemaker who got along with the world. But understanding that safety warnings are often ignored and potential mistakes in judgment added a bitter edge to the story, sharpens the story. Also, some critics say that the tragedy could may have been stopped if Denver had with the right training and better tools, or more extensive checks of his planes. This makes things awkward. Questions concerning who is to blame and responsibility, not just for the pilot but for the aviation business officials for test planes. The final answer to the John Denver mystery serves as a warning about from many sides. For fans, it's a terrible reminder that fame and talent don't protect anyone from being human weaknesses or threats that weren't expected. For the aviation community, it emphasizes how important it is to strict safety rules, clear talking about the risks of flying, and a lot of pilot training, especially for those who fly experimental or home-built airplanes. In the past few years, John Denver's story has led to renewed calls for greater training for pilots and stricter watching over little planes to try to stop similar events from happening again. The lessons acquired from this sad case is a legacy in and of itself, making sure that the sad mystery does not happen again with other pilots or people who love aviation.